So, Scotto, zombie takeout. Any good?
This is hard to say because, as you may know, the original hosts of this series were killed in a tragic accident. But it's just not a good show.
Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B-movie and cult movie show. I'm John.
And I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, I can honestly and happily say that after my traditional viewing of Tokyo Godfathers on Christmas Eve, I didn't watch a single fucking movie over the break.
Oh, I was catching up. I was recreationally watching movies, which is pretty cool.
I should mention, in December, for the last few years in December, I've done its tribute to Satoshi Kon, the director of Tokyo Godfathers. I spent the month marathoning all of his work. He did 4 films, a 13-episode series, and a short film. So in December, I watched 4 movies in addition to the 3 that we reviewed, if you want to count the holiday special as a movie. So by the time I got to Christmas Eve or to Christmas, I was really done with movies.
I didn't do movies till after Christmas. I did some Buster Scruggs. I did Hateful Eight, and why did I think I? No, I don't think I. And I did a. And I'm just about to finish Lincoln. It's just taking me a few sittings to go through.
The Daniel Day-Lewis one?
Yeah.
Okay. That looks interesting. And without any further ado, after that, on to this week's movie, which is, or should I say movies, which is from 2018, Black Mirror Bandersnatch. We got to start the year with something big.
Yeah.
And of course, that brings us to the impromptu plot summaries, because there's going to be 2.
Yes.
Sponsored by Metalhead, the new game from Colin Rittman, published by Tuckersoft. You die a lot.
Well, and also which do you choose as your sponsor, Tuckersoft or JFD Documentaries?
I'll go with JFD.
JFD Documentaries, for when you absolutely positively have to kill every last motherfucker in the film, except no substitutes.
We may have chosen a similar path, but you first.
All right, so we have a kid who you could tell he's not well. He's taking some sort of medication at the very beginning, but he's a software engineer, a programmer. And he's been working on this video game that he's going to take to the big house where they're making the Tuckersoft, which I think is loosely based off of some real big software companies from the era.
Probably.
I'm trying to remember what the names exactly, but yeah, he's bringing them there to show off his work, and let's see. Depending on which choice you make,
which cereal did you pick? No, that was the cereal was before.
Yeah, the cereal wasn't that big a deal.
I'm just mildly curious about what the other choice would have led to.
Yeah, the cereals lead to the same. The only thing the cereal changes is the ad you see later in the film.
Oh, okay.
Whichever cereal you chose, when he's watching TV, the ad for that cereal comes on for some reason.
I should point out, you found a big chart of all of the possible branches. That will be in the description and on the blog.
Yeah, I was in this thing for what felt like an eternity because you don't have the timer on it. And
I really missed having a progress bar.
Yeah, I was in there for at least an hour and a half, if not 2 hours.
My version lasted probably about an hour, and that was after going back after one ending. I think it was the shortest version, which is 40 minutes. I wasn't satisfied with that, so I went back, and then it ended about 20 minutes later. I kind of went for the big dumpster fire.
Well, I accepted, my first mistake was I accepted the offer for the job, which of course leads to a quick ending.
It does. Oh, man.
And it's just like, yeah, it leads to like a mediocre review. Like this thing was just rushed out. What were they thinking? That kid reviews it at the end, and the kid's just sitting in the living room next to his father, which actually,
that's the short version,
is not that bad an ending. However, It doesn't let you.
No.
It just doesn't let you off the hook.
Uh-huh.
It actually goes back to the beginning.
Does it force you to go? Does it go back on its own or tell you to go back?
I think it. I think it just goes back automatically.
Oh, okay. Because mine, I got to an ending. Where I ended the movie, it told me to go back, but I didn't because I'd already had the option to go back once before, and I
And
decided this is how I'm ending it.
it takes you back. It quickly speeds through, like, just shows little bits and pieces of the stuff leading up to that moment. And then he's back in the office. Only this time he's knowledgeable of what's happened already. Like, he knows about the software error. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, and then they're like, "How did you know that?" And he's like, or he's like, "This is nosedive. This is your latest, right?" And they're like, "How do you know that?" Kind of thing. Like,
mhm.
he's been through this already,
Oh
and
wow.
and Colin then, of course, realizes what he has in him, and kind of takes him in a
Hmm.
bit. And of course, you're given the option again to take it. I almost wanted to see if you got the same results if you took it, but I said, let's decline the job offer and see what happens this time, since I've gotten a second
So
chance.
that's the direction you're supposed to go because that's the one that branches off into a bunch of different possibilities.
Right. So let's see. From there, after you reject that, what happens after that? So yeah, they start talking about the theme of the movie, which is parallel realities and how that works. Colin gives him like a list of records to buy at the record store. You get to choose which album he buys. Did you go through
Yeah, I
that?
got that one.
Okay, I
I
was gonna
got
say Tangerine Dream.
no, I went which did I pick?
What was the other one? What was the other option anyway?
Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle. What the hell is that even?
Tamita, I think was the band name.
Okay. He immediately gets into fights with his father. He's frustrated with the programming. The father takes him to the therapist, but I see Colin again, and of course I choose to go with Colin because he's a programmer. He knows what a programmer would be frustrated about. I'd rather seek his advice than the therapist. Uh, took the acid, of course.
Mhm.
Um, I wonder what
This
happens
is
if you
the
don't.
important one.
I wonder what happens if you don't take the acid.
Hmm.
So then then of course the flying and LSD thing, which is just hacky, but they actually went there.
Uh-huh.
But you get to choose who flies.
Who did you choose?
I chose Colin,
Okay.
and because yeah, I have the explanation for each pick. It's like, follow Colin, the seventh choice. He's a righteous dude. He'll know about programming problems. And then Colin jumps, ninth choice. He's not that righteous a dude. um, so right, they treat it like it's all a dream anyway.
Mhm.
After Colin jumps, but like he just wakes up or whatever. But you don't see Colin again for the rest of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Colin left a note with an intern to give him later on, and everyone's like, "Where's Colin?" And they said, "Oh, he's probably cleared off. He's finished with this program, and he's probably in some other part of Asia or whatever." Let's see. And then it gets well, you get to the therapist office. Oh, actually, he starts breaking the fourth wall. He starts getting like very paranoid. He's aware that somebody is watching him and feels like someone else is controlling his fate. And oh my God, did you not see this stuff
No,
because you chose
I think the
Stefan to jump?
uh-huh. I told you I went for the dumpster fire.
So one of the options you have, and this is my favorite part of the whole fucking movie, you can tell him through the computer that you are watching him through something called Netflix.
Oh wow. Yeah, I need to watch this. Go
And then
a
you get
different
to
path with this.
try to explain to him through the computer what is Netflix.
Oh God. This is genius.
Yes. And then he goes to the therapist, and finally he's just like, take me to the therapist. I'm seeing crazy shit, you know. The therapist, of course, says, this is all great. Um, the therapist, you know, reasons why would this be a movie? Why would anybody watch this for entertainment? It's just you're just talking. I'm a boring person, and you're not that interesting either, and we're just talking. Who would watch this, and why would this be a movie? Why wouldn't it be more interesting if this were a movie? And that's one of the endings, but
Okay.
I won't explain. I won't ruin it.
Mhm.
But it's a funny ending. But after that ending, they take me back again, and you really have no choice but to fight with your father.
Uh-huh.
And you get into more of the studies of the original writer of Bandersnatch,
Hmm.
JFD, or what's his name? I can't remember the guy.
Jeremy F. Davies.
Yeah. So it gets into more of him, how he murdered his wife because he just went insane about, being controlled by government conspiracies, which he even tries to add into this game that's, a government agent controlling you and everything. But I couldn't figure out how to just get it to where he does not try to kill anyone, and
You were going for the happy ending.
I was just seeing how far I could go, you know?
Mhm.
And then eventually I went for the ending that, I mean, it was a good ending. It was the right ending, I think.
Mhm.
It was not a happy ending, but it was a good ending.
Okay. Now, I might basically on your second try, I basically did the same thing. Who did you have him listen to on the bus?
I wasn't in the mood for Thompson Twins, so I went for Now.
Okay,
That's
I
what I
picked
call.
Thompson Twins just because I had no idea who the other band was.
It was the Now That's What I Call Music, like the second
Oh,
one,
okay,
which
no,
nobody really had back
no.
then, but he did. And apparently they said, I looked at like some trivia, that he woke up to Frankie Goes to Hollywood. The track after that is the Thompson Twins song on
Oh,
that
okay. On
particular
that note,
album. The track before that is the Eurythmics' "Here Comes the Rain," and that's the song that plays when he's
oh,
going in. If you choose Now, That's What I Call Music.
okay. Huh. So I picked Thompson Twins. I refused the offer, as I said. Um, I had him talk to his shrink about his mother, so I got that whole story about how he refused to go without his stuffed toy, and he delayed her getting to work because she was going to take
Right,
him to school, and she ended up on a later train, and that got derailed, and she died. He blamed
right.
himself.
And so a lot of the ending that I was in this loop was I was trying to go on the quest for the bunny.
Oh wow, nice.
Because Colin explains that you can use the mirror as a time traveling device. And so he goes into the mirror and comes out the other side as a child. And yeah, it's a quest
Mhm.
to try to find the bunny.
Now on choice five, I have no and no choice, but I don't remember what the scene was. Like your only option was no.
My fifth. Oh, yeah, I didn't count that as a choice then.
Okay, I don't remember what the scene was though. I picked the Bermuda Triangle album. Really weird kind of ambient, almost kind of industrial stuff.
Well, yeah, Tangerine Dream's kind of the same.
Mhm. Um, and this really did feel. Did you watch Black Mirror at all?
I've seen like the first season, I think.
I should point out that Black Mirror is an anthology series, so none of the episodes are connected to each other nor to the movie.
Apparently, they've made references to other
Yeah, there
episodes
are
throughout
all kinds
this.
of Easter eggs.
Nosedive
Yeah,
and
there's all kinds of Easter eggs. Highly recommend the series. It really is
yeah,
the spiritual successor to the Twilight Zone. A lot of people tried it. Black Mirror finally pulled it off. So this isn't connected to anything in the series. You can watch this knowing nothing about the series.
right.
Um,
I figured that going in even.
Now I had him pour the tea on the computer, or as it's phrased in the choice, throw the tea at the computer. He just pours it on the keyboard.
I was curious about that because I mean I was like I keep saying I chose not to destroy my you know,
Mhm.
I'm from this time period,
Oh,
you
so
know.
am I. I just
I
was
would,
going for the dumpster fire. It was sadistic. Let's see what happens for me.
but I would never destroy my gear regardless of what happened because it was
Uh-huh.
your gear. I mean, what the
Well,
fuck
yeah,
were you gonna do?
it's a
So
ridiculous choice.
So I was like, no, I tried to get
No,
around it, but they gave you this whole you're going to destroy the computer or throw tea on it. Uh, and so I had to look up in the bridge, but either one's the same
well,
response where he
yes,
doesn't
because
do it.
I had him pour the tea on the computer, which I can understand if you're really that frustrated. But yeah, I had him do that. It kills the computer, and that's one of the end. That was the first ending I hit,
Oh, wow.
and
Wait a
it
minute.
was
Because when I said to pour the tea on the computer, he didn't do it.
he poured it on it. It destroyed the computer. It said your father points out you've just destroyed all your work, and then it gives me the option to go back or to work at Tuckersoft, which I'm presumably takes me all the way back to the beginning, and he takes the job and he chooses
Huh.
to work in the office, or I could go back to the last choice, and then I had him yell at his father.
That's right. They put pour tea over the computer for a few different choices.
Oh, okay.
Because it was later where I got that option to throw the tea on the over the computer, and it was like no other choice. It was either destroy the computer or throw tea over the computer.
Mm,
So I was like, I guess I'll throw tea over the computer.
mm,
And I was like, not sure I have to destroy my gear. And
mm.
he doesn't do it. That's when he
Oh,
gets into the like he fights it and he realizes there are other forces controlling him.
wow. They shot 5 hours of footage. I should point out
That
for all
it,
of
it
this.
shows because I was there for a few hours. I think what what was it? I'm trying to think. I think the 12th choice was hit desk or destroy your computer. I'm trying to
Okay.
remember earlier when he had the option to throw tea over the computer.
Hmm. I don't. I just got to that option. I counted it as an ending. And then it made me go back, or it was an ending. I just chose to go back because I wasn't satisfied with him just pouring tea on his
Yeah,
stuff and destroying his gear and losing all of his work.
right.
So I went back. I had him. He goes to the shrink again. His father takes him to the shrink again under the guise of taking him out to breakfast.
Yeah,
And I followed Colin, like you said. I took the acid. They make it clear that Colin or Stefan rather has some serious mental health issues.
yeah,
Not only because of the issue with his mother, he's on medication, and there's some other hints here and there, and also, and I don't think this was a choice. In the record store, he finds a biography of Jeremy Davies that shows some of his artwork, and it's really disturbing images.
right.
So it's clear that he has some mental health issues. And so taking the acid probably wouldn't have been a good idea. They've shown that microdoses can be useful for depression, but for someone in Steph's condition who is probably a little delusional, maybe a tad schizophrenic, acid not a good idea. But I took it anyway because dumpster fire.
You have to look this up to see what happens if you don't take it. Oh, it doesn't matter because Colin spikes the tea.
Oh, okay. Incidentally,
There's a lot of these that it
mhm,
really doesn't matter what
yeah.
you take, you're going to the same place. So I'm surprised it was that different for you.
So Colin was going off about what Pac-Man meant, something and Control Man. He went into this whole
Yeah,
conspiracy theory. The actual story is Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man because
yes,
he's shaped like a puck,
right.
but they changed it because the machines were being vandalized into saying "fuck man."
Or they realized they would have easily been
Yeah.
vandalized
Okay, I
for
didn't know if it
Buckman.
actually happened or not yet. And then I had Steph jump.
The end.
Well, yeah, and then we get the review of his game of Bandersnatch, and it was that intro. It's not a good game. It was rushed.
Yeah,
They kind of berate you for taking that choice because it was rushed and abrupt, and it's just senselessly violent. The reviewer berates you for choosing to kill Steph.
yeah. There was. I saw one thing where it did say like, oh yeah, like after he kills his father and stuff, and he's in jail, and there's like the review of it, like they just, it's macabre interest that you're playing this, but
There's probably different reviews depending on which way you went.
yeah, I
Uh,
hear there is a way. I haven't seen this on the map yet, but I hear there is a way to get where he finishes it and gets a good review. I don't know if that means he's killed people though or not.
Oh wow. The other thing I saw that suggested that he had mental health issues was he was avoiding the stress of working in the office. That was part of his choice to work at home.
Yeah.
And all of that leads to mental health issues, or suggests them. Also, the boss at Tuckersoft reminded me a lot of Nick Frost.
I'm not sure why he had so many problems with the software. Like, it just seemed like the more he worked on it, the worse it got. Like, if you're going later into the film, like nothing works. Like he's there to deliver it, and it's crapping out like right away, and yeah, it just keeps going.
Wow.
So I'm
Well,
like,
I mean,
he's doomed.
well, from a writer's standpoint, conflict is drama. So, more conflict, more drama,
Yeah.
more story. Also, the fax sound you hear at the end of the movie on Stefan's headphones. Did you get to that?
I think I did. Yeah.
It translates to a QR code, which leads to a website where you will find one of the games shown in the movie. And the actor portraying Jerome F. Davies is Jeff Minter, who himself is actually a famous 8-bit video game designer and programmer who created several successful games in the 80s for the ZX Spectrum, among others. I think that's a British computer, which is a computer prominently featured in the movie. So really, I think I only really have one criticism of it, because Black Mirror is brilliantly done. The production values, the writing, the casting, the performances, it's all amazing in every episode. It's a masterpiece. And that's the case in the movie. There are no flaws. But I think the game distracts from the movie.
I think they relied too heavily upon the game. Like, I think this story could have been a little better told than what it is. I mean, I get what they're trying to say, that you really can't fix things to make things better. You can't go back. It is kind of the same message as Primer or Donnie Darko.
Oh yeah, we talked about Primer before we started recording. And you kind of compared it because of the branching options. Except in Primer, you didn't get choices.
Right.
I really want Primer the game, where you do have choices. If anybody out there can make that happen, Shane, if you're somehow watching,
man,
please,
we miss you, Shane.
Okay, that yes. Incidentally, total tangent. I saw an interview with Tom Holland recently, who he had signed on to Modern Ocean. He says he hasn't heard a damn thing about it. He signed on, and that was that. So apparently, Modern Ocean is done. Apparently, every other movie Shane makes goes nowhere, because Topiary went nowhere. Now Modern Ocean isn't going anywhere. The next one we might actually see.
I hope.
So really, no point to sequels and remakes because it's a brand new movie.
Yeah.
On to Brains. This, like I said, it was brilliantly done, a little distracting, but it's the first of its kind. So there are going to be flaws. Nothing is perfect the first time out. Still, for what it is, I got to give it a 5.
I'm pretty close. I thought the story could have been a bit better. I mean, I know they had to work on different options and stuff, but they didn't really work on that many options if you think about it. A lot of my, a good half hour, 45 minutes was spent in a loop pretty much, going and on this mission to get the rabbit, and you enter passwords into the safe that's inexplicably in their house with yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And then there's stuff where we choose, and it really didn't feel like it chose it. Like things, he's not doing what you're choosing anyway. So I'm 4.5 because it was brilliantly acted, and then but the writing I think could have been a bit better. I mean, come on, the LSD flying thing.
Yeah, it was basically setting up the option to kill him.
I mean, this is a lot of fan service to guys like us who remember
Yes,
these games,
it is a nostalgia trip. It
like
was one of my
Thief of
prospective titles.
Destiny was actually the third Bard's Tale game.
Mhm.
All of these things connect to actual games.
Yeah, and there are reference to actual games. I loved the music choices that Colin gave him. Tangerine Dream, The Cure, Bauhaus.
My father listens to XTC.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't
Waking
get
Plans for
cooler than that.
Nigel, one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
All right, so what have we learned?
Who the hell would want to live in the past? Because I mean, man, that sucked. That was just shit. Who would want that?
And I learned that killing the protagonist is fun. I'm a writer. I don't generally get to do that except at the end. So, doing that with somebody else's work after like a fairly short period of time was fun, and just torturing them along the way.
Well, for a while, I just wanted to see how long this thing could go. So I was like, if he kills someone, it's gonna end. Apparently, though, if you look at the map, you can kind of go on a killing spree.
Oh yeah, that would be so much more fun. I gotta do this again and just try all the options.
Yeah, the map tells you could kill pretty much
Oh
almost
wow.
everyone,
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, I should have really gone further into the movie. I just was, obsessed, drunk on power. I wanted to kill him because I knew that was going to be an option, and so I kind of wanted that. But yeah, I guess I did shortchange myself. All right, that's it for Black Mirror Bandersnatch. Until next time, we will be reviewing Skidoo. This is our Carol Channing tribute. She passed away
Tribute.
yesterday.
All right.
It's apparently notoriously bad, which is not usually a good choice for a tribute, but Carol Channing was always Carol Channing, so she'll be herself in the film, and I'm sure it'll be enjoyable. And it stars her and Jackie Gleason. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those movies that everyone else hates that we love. There are a few of those.
We'll see.
Until then, of course, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there
There
you
you
are.
are.